Today we're here with Jennifer Met, CEO and founder of Satya Therapeutics. Hi, Jennifer.
Hello.
How are you doing today?
Well, thank you.
What we're going to talk about today is the intake process or how clients might come to find Satya. You've seen and talked to probably 2,000 people since we started. That probably makes you the most experienced person around in terms of talking to incoming clients. What are some of the common questions that people ask you?
I think that first and foremost is wondering what is the process? What is the process of coming to Oregon to receive psilocybin services? So I usually will take clients through. We are contacted via email or phone, and both Andreas and I speak with the client within 24 hours. That is a goal of ours, is to speak to people as soon as we possibly can and explain that there are preparation sessions, one or more that happen prior to the day of the journey. They must happen based on the Oregon Health Authority at least 24 hours before the actual day of the journey, and that there are integration sessions available after the journey. They are not mandatory by the state of Oregon. However, we see them as being very instrumental in the entire process of a psilocybin treatment. Secondly, clients are asking, how does this work? Preparation sessions and integration sessions can happen on Zoom from the comfort of your own home or the phone. So they don't necessarily need to happen here at the service center in person. If you are in town or you're hoping to visit for a week, then of course, usually that can be arranged with your facilitator. Other questions are around the day of the journey. Clients arrive anywhere between 8:30, 9:30 in the morning, where they are greeted by myself and our other service center staff, where paperwork is checked over. Again, payment will be made most often. Facilitators and the service center will get paid on the day of the journey. Some facilitators may, because they're independent service providers, may ask for a deposit prior to the day of the journey. We accept card and we accept cash.
When someone calls you up, what are some of the common questions that you're asked straight out of the gate?
The most common question that is asked is oftentimes, how many days should a client consider to be in the area of Ashland? And we like to say that for a best practice, 3 nights. Optimally, if you are flying into the Medford Rogue Valley Airport, that it avoid the last flight coming into Medford, as there can be some issues with connecting flights. However, 3 nights, you have a restful evening the night before the day of the journey. You have a evening to rest at the end of the journey, and if possible, best practice, if you're able to have the next day be a day of rest, that is a wonderful thing to give yourself, because you may feel revitalized, you may feel exhausted, or you may feel that nature is calling you and you may want to go walk in the many beautiful parks that are in the area where the service center is. Probably one of the main questions I'm also asked from clients, other than what does the day look like, how long I should stay, is dosing. And it really is the most important discussion in preparation with a facilitator. So that is something that, of course, I can answer to people briefly on the phone, but it is a large part of the preparation conversations that will happen with the facilitator that the client will choose.
About 90% of the people that come and visit Satya Therapeutics have never tried a psychedelic before. What do you tell them?
I tell them that we created Satya Therapeutics especially for people that have never tried any type of psychedelic. And I felt that this needed to be a space that was professional and ethical and followed compliance, so individuals can explore this avenue of seeking a better life with being in an environment that everyone is state licensed, that the actual space is extremely professional. So for me, I am always pleased to speak with someone because I created this space exactly for them.
And you did create this space. When people walk in here, they're amazed at how well laid out it is, and it's really because of you.
Thank you. I wanted a space that was clean. I wanted a space that just had only living plants. And of course, clients can bring any mementos or things, images, blankets that make them feel comfortable, as that is of the utmost importance. It's about you, the client. However, I wanted this space to be a place that people felt something that is kind of unknown, like psychedelics, this to be comfortable, professional, without being intimidating.
And now that 1,000 clients have come to Satya, would you consider this safe?
Yes, I consider this extremely safe. We have been so fortunate to see 1,000 clients up to this date, and we work 7 days a week, and we answer the phones every day, often through the evening, and we have experience working with varying degrees of difficulty of clients that have situations, and it has been an absolute honor and a pleasure to work with the clients that have walked through our doors.
What are some of the other common questions that you're asked?
Other common questions, of course, are associated with price. And we at Satya, we really want this to be as affordable as it can be for clients. We understand that it is still an expense. However, we have some varying options for people. We have all inclusive packages, which includes a preparation session, includes an integration session, and the day of the journey. The cost of the facilitator who is with you throughout the duration of your journey and the cost for the actual space of using Satya Therapeutics and the room. There are different rooms that you can choose from that vary a little bit in price. We have a basic room that is quite popular that has no natural light. And then we go up in increments of price to the largest room, which has a garden setting and multiple windows.
So it's possible for someone to come here and spend $1,000 and have everything included.
Correct. That is correct. And though there may be certain facilitators that do work within that $1,000 inclusive program, there are other facilitators that might be working for the 1250 program.
This is a really sensitive question, and I'm wondering how you respond to this when people say, is there a difference in quality of service between $1,000 and a $1,250 all-inclusive experience?
That is that is an interesting question. I think it completely depends upon the facilitator. And I believe both my husband and our team here at Satya that of the utmost importance, and I share this with every single person I speak to on the phone, you need to have an organic connection with the facilitator that you choose. When you have an organic connection with the facilitator that you choose, then that difference of the money makes no difference. And that's really what I try to express to people, that it might be something that one facilitator may be offering at the time. However, of the utmost importance is that you are connecting with that facilitator. They are independent service providers, though they work with us closely here at Satya Therapeutics. And my job is to always make sure that you are connected with a facilitator that you feel comfortable moving forward without any questions asked. You are allowed to speak to as many facilitators as you like.
So, a different way of saying that, would you agree that you shouldn't just shop for price? You should connect with the facilitator that you connect with, and the difference might be $200.
Yes, I do believe that if it's coming down to your health, then I believe that really connecting with the right facilitator is number 1. There are a lot of other wonderful service centers in the state of Oregon that might have varying, differing prices, and of course, we think it's very important for clients to spend time reviewing other service centers what we're offering, we feel even at that $1,000 range or $1,250 and up, we are offering clients an absolutely safe and ethical experience of working with the psilocybin.
Do you ever assign facilitators, or tell me a little bit about how that process is done, selecting a facilitator?
There are times that clients will ask, they might be overwhelmed or feeling saturated after the information that I've given them, that they might say, "Do you have any suggestions?" And yes, usually after speaking to a client on the phone, they may share a little bit about themselves. I am able to guide them to at least 2 or 3 facilitators that I feel would be in their best interest to speak with. Otherwise, half of the clients may know exactly who they want to work with, and that can be due to cost, that can be due to reading. They've spent a lot of time researching the varying facilitator bios on our website. I do believe that it's a really good idea to spend time on our website looking drop through all the drop menus, as we do try to answer all of those questions, but we're then here to answer those questions and elaborate on facilitator bios or the experience as a client needs.
Say I'm a client and I've gotten 3 facilitator names. Do the facilitators talk to you at all about me?
No, once I connect, or Andreas and I connect you to a facilitator, unless the client needs to speak to me, I'm always available to them. The relationship begins with the facilitator that they choose to work with. So, an introductory call will happen between the facilitators that I've connected the client with, and then it's the client's choice of who to move forward with.
Once I start talking to a facilitator as a client, you're not talking to the facilitator about me at all?
No, that is between client and facilitator. There is absolutely no conversation about the client moving beyond I'm making the connection for the client to the facilitator.
And as a client, if I do have questions for you, I could call you and ask you questions.
Absolutely. And anything that is said to me in the introductory call, or you're asking, or maybe you are explaining your situation, that is also highly confidential, that is spoken to me.
How do I book a day? Who does that for me?
A day can be booked either by myself or Andreas if there is a certain day that your schedule only allows, and then we can look towards the facilitator, which facilitators are available. Or most of the time, I'd say about 90% of the time, the facilitator the client has chosen to work with is it going to be scheduling the day, the time, and any other details, all preparation, integration sessions with their facilitator.
What happens the day I come into the service center?
The morning of your journey, you will enter a very quiet space, and you'll be greeted by our staff. And our staff will then connect you with the facilitator. Most oftentimes, you will go to the room, maybe have a very brief tour of the facility, seeing where the bathrooms are, and then getting comfortable with your facilitator in the space. You are never rushed. Nothing happens without it being what you choose. And then at one point, you will sit at the front desk, or we will come to the room, depending upon the day. And if we have other clients, we have everything very confidential here. So there's no connection of other clients seeing one another. And we will then make sure paperwork is checked, we will take payment, and then you again settle in with your facilitator, and we are notified as service center staff when you are ready to receive the psilocybin, which at when that point we will come with a tray, with a mug, with lemon juice, and with sweetener of your choice to present the product to you.
A client comes in, they're going to sit down either in their room or at the front desk with you or other service center staff and go through a checklist.
Correct. You will go through a checklist to make sure that we have all the proper paperwork signed and dated, and so we can move forward with the process.
When I'm ready, someone comes in with a tray with some psilocybin, how does that process work?
So the process of the presentation of the product is a licensed service center operator will come in with a tray. And the tray includes a mug, the psilocybin, usually in a homogenized form, lemon juice, and your choice of sweeteners. We have a variety of sweeteners. Most commonly, people are comfortable with honey. The lemon juice helps activate the psilocybin.
And then maybe at a later time in like an hour and a half, I might take more.
Correct. In your paperwork, which is part of the paperwork that we check in the morning, there is a secondary boost plan that you have a plan if you're going to do a secondary boost. Many clients may want to start with a smaller amount to see how they do with the psilocybin, then consider. So it is always the client's choice. The client is asked by the facilitator many times if they wish to do the secondary boost, which is part of the plan. We come in and we assist and observe, once again, the tea being made and consumed.
During the journey for the client, what are some other times outside of the boosting process or the administration process where you might come in contact with the client as service center staff?
Licensed service center staff and operators are here to make sure that the service center is, of course, quiet and it is maintaining a safe and ethical space for the client to have their journeys. The service center staff often will stay in one part of the building so that the client and the facilitators really are amongst themselves for the duration of the journey. There may be times if a client or if the facilitator requests our assistance that we will assist as needed. That could be anything from bathroom help, or it could be just to observe the door to make sure the client is safe while the facilitator uses the restroom. I know these are detailed responses, but it's important for clients to know that it is mandated facilitators stay with the client throughout the duration of their journey. Yet, if they do need a bathroom break or to step out for a moment to have something to drink or consume, might be for only 5 minutes. Service center staff is there outside the door to assist.
You're saying that I'm always under observation. I'm never alone.
The client is never alone.
Last year, the OHA passed a rule that removed the requirement to have a backup facilitator available. What can you say about that and Satya Therapeutics?
Satya Therapeutics feels that having a backup facilitator is of the utmost importance. We're so fortunate with our staff, and we have such a wonderful team of facilitators that they do this voluntarily. And this allows that there is always an available state licensed facilitator that should anything occur, that they are there to back up. So we find it to be of the utmost importance to have that.
Well, Jennifer, thank you so much for taking the time to answer a couple questions today.
Thank you.